Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today, we have a WIP Chat. If you do not know what a WIP Chat is, that is when I pull out and work on my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. And this is currently Hanukkah from Diamond Art Club. And you can pull out whatever it is that you are working on, whether it be a craft project, a house project, while you're driving, while you're at work, while you're doing whatever you want to be doing. There is no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. So, if you are new here, hi, welcome. I'm Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and crafting related content. If you've been here before, welcome back. If you guys are new here and you are enjoying this and you are here for the rambles, please make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that fun stuff. But don't worry, I'll remind you guys again at the end. Excuse me. I had a little bit of an interaction with a dog last night, so, my allergies to animals are killing me right now. So, I am going to work on this, and I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit out of order. Yesterday, I'm filming this on Sunday, so my birthday was yesterday, which is Saturday, and I just want to thank everybody so much for reaching out and sending me all the well wishes, tagging me in your stories all day long, commenting on my feed and my wall, just really felt all the love. And I just want to say thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me that you guys took the time out of your day to just reach out to me, to think of me. And so I definitely want to say a huge thank you. And since we're talking about my birthday, I just want to say a huge thank you to my brother and sister-in-law because they took our kiddo last night. You guys, my husband and I had an actual date night. And that's the first time we've had a date night. We've had two ever since our kid was born. And she will be 4 in like a week and a half. And we we dropped her off, and we came equipped with a couple things, which I don't think we really needed because they seem to never have gotten rid of any of their kid stuff, and their 2 kids are both grown now. One is in college and one's in high school, and they had puzzles and books and all this stuff that they pulled out for her, and we brought Play-Doh and some crayons and a couple other things, and they were still in the bag when I got there. So we dropped her off. My nephew was making mac and cheese for her, which was super cute. And then we left and we went to dinner. My husband and I looked for a restaurant that was near to where they were because we didn't want to be driving around too far. Because even though we were going to dinner, and we had a really early dinner reservation, you guys, we had like a 5:30 dinner reservation. We don't normally eat dinner till like 6:37 here. 6:30, 7, not like 6:37. That would be a very exact time. Do you guys have an exact time that you eat meals? Let me know down below. But anyway, we went to a restaurant that was about 10 minutes from their house, and it was absolutely delicious. We each got an appetizer. I had a brie and pear crostini. It was amazing. My husband got a meatball. You guys, the food was good. I got a cocktail. It was delicious. It was an Autumnal Rum Punch. And let me tell you guys, that thing screamed fall. And it had a little acorn in it. Not like in the drink, but as garnish. Guys, I had a wonderful time. They sat us at this they were copper top tables, and they sat us right at the fireplace, so it was super cozy. It had a feel of a ski resort, like a ski lodge. It was so nice, and we weren't worried about her at all. I was hoping that she wouldn't be too difficult for them, but we weren't like, oh my gosh, is she in good hands? Is she going to be okay? Because she's not that little anymore. Not that she's self-sufficient. She's 3, almost 4. But she really doesn't need that much direction. She's really good at self-play. She just needs somebody to prepare her food and give it to her. Like, she really doesn't need a whole lot. So we were really very thankful that they took her for the short time. And then when we came to pick her up, she was standing at the countertop with my sister-in-law and they were baking cookies. So we ended up staying like another hour because she needed to bake the cookies. She needed to eat the cookies. We needed to take the cookies home. And then when that was said and done, getting her out the door was a nightmare. And let me tell you, there's nothing worse than a tired baby. I don't care how old they are, but a tired baby that is fighting it. The whole car ride home, she's like, I want to tell you something. What do you want to tell me? I don't know. And it just went on over and over and over again. And I was finally like, kid, whatever it is you want to tell me, but you don't have to keep telling me. You have something to tell me. And it just turned into this, like, the whole drive of her just, it was her trying to keep her mind awake. She does the same thing at home, but she does it, like, physically by running around and spiraling out of control. And this was just her doing it verbally because she was strapped into her car seat. But it was great. We had a really, really lovely time. Why are you not sticking? Are you sucking my drill? That might be the problem. Let's try with a lighter hand. Okay, there we go. It's interesting. This glue... Okay, why are you not... I'm struggling over here. Down lower, it didn't feel like it had fully cured, so it was a little bit slippery. But I just left the cover on up in between working on it, and it was fine. Anyway, so we had a great dinner. I actually put on mostly full face of makeup, which, like, I never do. But it was fun to get all dolled up. And, like, the second I saw my daughter, she was like, Mommy, you look so beautiful. Your outfit's adorable. And I was like, there is nothing better for my ego than my child right now. Of course, my husband told me I look nice too, but it was like, it blew her mind. And then I was like, it also goes to show you how little I wear, like, real clothes anymore. Because she hasn't seen me in anything other than, you know, basically glorified pajamas and jeans in a very long time. So, but my brother and sister-in-law, they have 2 dogs. And I thought about it on the drive over. And I did take an allergy pill. But you need time for that to, like, kick in. And the, like, 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive really didn't give it enough time. So, thankfully, I didn't scratch my eyes because I did have eye makeup on. But I had a really, really lovely time. And I was talking to Paula and I said 10 out of 10 would date night again. My husband and I needed it. We desperately needed, like, time together, just him and I. Not that we don't like our kid, not that we don't cherish our time with her, but we are adults and we are also husband and wife, and we need that time to just not be mommy and daddy. Not that we aren't parents when our kid's there. I feel like if you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. Otherwise, you're probably like, what is she rambling about? And the answer to that question is, I don't really know. I just ramble all the time. If you're new here, you'll find that out very quickly. So Monday, we had just had our services adjusted, and Monday was supposed to be speech and OT for the one session we're getting of each of them a month, and subsequently both of them had to cancel. Totally different reasons, totally fine, not a problem. So both of those are being rescheduled for tomorrow. But I had that, and then I had a chiropractor appointment, and while I was in there, my husband and daughter went to the store to look for a birthday card for me, which she told me. Did you guys get a birthday card for me?
We did. I apparently have them on the table downstairs.
Okay, I just thought about that. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't open one. Totally fine. They also got a birthday cake, which it's funny when I asked her who picked the birthday cake, you or Daddy. Before I had seen the cake, she's like, Daddy. And then when she saw how much Mommy liked the birthday cake, then she was like, I did it. So there's that. And we also needed milk. Somehow we'll go through these like spurts where we just can't keep up with the milk. And then we'll go through other spurts where it's like, oh my God, this carton has been sitting here forever. Now, we do lactate milk with her because she is lactose intolerant, and that is what her GI team has recommended. The good thing about that is that it has a longer shelf life than cow's milk. I'm trying to debate. Oh, good. And I just ripped my paper. If you guys are wondering why there's like a cover on here, I just use a piece of like release paper or parchment squares so that I have somewhere I can put my hand down when I'm working. I'm really just working on this in a huge stretch here. So that's what that is, in case you're actually watching the WIP Chat. How many people here actually watch? I mean, I will from time to time look up when I'm watching somebody else's WIP Chat. I don't think I've ever actually physically watched an entire WIP Chat. If you have, or if you watch like part of it, let me know. I'm very curious about that. So, we ended up going to Applebee's for lunch. The night before, we had tried to order Applebee's on DoorDash and their website, and we were just having issues, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. And so she's like, I want to go to Applebee's. And honestly, I don't think she really wanted to go to Applebee's. I think she just had it in her mind because we had just talked about it for like an hour the night before. But we went. It was fine. And oddly enough, there were a bunch of bees outside. So then she went inside and she asked for where all the apples were. And I was like, that's just the name of the restaurant? They have like apple like etched into their glass, but it's not like they put apples on your table or anything. But from the mouths of babes, you know, the way her little brain functions. But it was kind of cool because while we were sitting there, there was a ladybug outside on the window. And ladybugs are supposed to be a symbol of good luck. I mean, they have a lot of meanings. But when we went home, there was a different ladybug on the window of our car. And I was like, what are the odds? So that it just, you know, kind of set the tone for the day. And it was quite a lovely little gesture and moment. And, you know, all of that fun stuff. I have some Taco Bell pink lemonade left here. And I forgot how tart their pink lemonade is. I love sweet foods, but I don't really love overly like sugary drinks. They hurt my teeth. So if I get lemonade, I usually water it down a lot. But this is just a very tart lemonade. Anyway, so what else do we do? We decided to go out to eat because it was cheaper than DoorDash. And my husband and I realized like we've been spending an insane amount of money on takeout. And I get the whole point of it is for like the convenience fee. But they jack up the prices. Just making sure I'm not missing any of this. On DoorDash. And then they charge you the taxes and delivery fee. Okay. And then they charge you like restaurant fees. Sometimes you can be spending like $15, $20 in just fees alone, not even including the tip. And then you have to tip on top of it. It's a lot. It's a lot. And so we've been trying to be more mindful of that. And then, so we were sitting there at nighttime. My husband and I, we both work during her nap and after she goes to bed. That's nothing new. And then after we work upstairs in the evening, we go downstairs and we watch some TV together. We have a TV up here. It's not hooked up to cable. And honestly, my husband has this giant whiteboard on it and it's behind me. So it's not really like conducive to us being like, well, let's watch something while we're working. So he usually just streams something on his phone, which is what he's doing right now. Hopefully it's not, I don't think it should be too loud, but if you guys are hearing anything.
I can barely hear it.
Okay. Well, you could also probably barely hear it because I'm talking. But I'm just saying, if you guys are hearing something in the background, that's probably what that is. But we were down there, and her monitor just kept going off. We were both so freaked out. And so he actually asked her, like, if she ever, like, talks to anyone in her room or if she ever hears anything in her room. And then the next day she said to me, there's ghosts in here. And I was like, what? And we were talking and I was like, what kind of ghost? And she's just looking at me like, well, what do you mean? What kind of ghost? And I'm looking at her like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like, what kind of ghosts are you referring to, child? Turns out she was thinking about like the little white ghosts for like Halloween decorations. And I was like, okay, we were so freaked out, you guys. That monitor went off more that night than...
And that's when we walked in and saw her like with her arms up.
And then we walked in and she was dead asleep. It was super like freaky. Usually with that kind of stuff, we'll just like watch her in the monitor. But my husband had like a sinking feeling. And so he went up and he checked on her and it was just very strange. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's one of those moments. It kind of freaked us all out. And, I mean, she slept through all of it, so she was totally fine. But I don't know if you guys believe or not. And I'm not here to tell you, you need to believe in ghosts or spirits or anything like that. But it is pretty widely believed that kids are more intuitive and can sense things more than adults. So, you know, we just wanted to make sure. And to be completely honest with you, I'm not 100% sold if I do believe or don't believe. My husband does believe, and I have moments where I'm like, oh, I definitely believe. And then other moments where I'm like, I don't think so. So, there's that. Anyway, so Tuesday, we went ice skating. And then there was a new little boy in our group, same age as all of the kids there, except for the real little guy, are the same age. And there's another little girl who's a little bit older, but I think she's probably also like 4 turning 5, or like maybe she is 5. I don't know. She's not much older than the other kids. But this little guy, like, he was getting up and he was, you know, falling and everything, but he was doing a really good job. And his dad, we just kept looking over and I was like, he's doing really great. Like, he's going to be over here on the line with the other kids in no time. And he's like, you really think so? And I'm like, yeah. And I could see he had this like air of disappointment about him. And I don't know how many of you have ever been on ice, not necessarily ice skating, but like when you walk on ice, like it takes a lot to learn your balance. And the main part of ice skating when you're first learning how to skate is how to stand and how to get back up if you fall. And then it's like, okay, let's move forward. And then it's not even skating. It's really just walking and having loud, heavy feet and noisy feet and things like that. And, you know, he was a really nice guy, but you could see, like, I guess he was expecting more out of his kid. And my husband and I were just like, he's doing a really good job. Like, you should be, we didn't say it to him that way, but like, you should be really proud of your kid, not like disappointed that he's not doing more. You watch my kid's been doing it since the spring. And I guess if you are new to it, you probably would expect her to be further along than she is, but I think she's done a phenomenal job. And every kid learns it at their own pace, but hopefully he'll be back. He said he works from home, so on certain like times he can bring him, but other times he can't. But it's always nice to have another little buddy in the group. We found out this coming week will be her head coach's last session for a little bit, as she's got to go back in for surgery. So, I mean, that's a bummer. Hopefully surgery goes well for her and she has a speedy recovery. I think this time around, they have a little bit more of an idea of what's going on in terms of like work and coverage. Because last time she went out for surgery, it was an emergency situation. And I was fine on my end as a parent. But it definitely felt like the rink kind of scrambled to get the right amount of coverage. And I don't know why they don't just let the assistant coach take over the tots class, because it's not like these kids are, you know, doing earth-shattering things. They're, you know, standing and skating and moving forwards and going backwards and going from this end to that end. Like, they're not doing big jumps and spins and things like that, you know, yet. My daughter's always like, I can do that when I get bigger. Yes, Bean, you can absolutely do that. Side note, do you guys have any interesting or weird nicknames for like a loved one? Because I don't even know how Beans started, but that's like the main nickname we call her. And it's interesting because when I was a little girl, I was called Beanhead. So anyway, total side note. But what else we do? And not next week, but the week after will be Briar's actual birthday. So we're going to have a birthday party, quote unquote, at the rink. And we'll bring cupcakes with us. And anybody that's there is, more than welcome to celebrate. And she keeps talking about how she's going to have her birthday party there. So I'm just not going to, correct her and let her know that, well, it's just a regular lesson. We're bringing cupcakes with us. Because why make her feel sad and be like, this is no different than any other Tuesday that we go to. So hopefully, no issues arise. But I'm excited. We're also going to be taking my mother-in-law with us for her birthday. She's been to the rink once, and she'll come back with us. But then we're going to do something fun. We haven't figured out what that is yet, but something fun. And then we tried to leave for what felt like an hour. Excuse me. Briar has recently discovered the ATM machine, and I don't know who explained to her what it was, but she's like, the money machine. And I'm like, but she doesn't understand. It's not like a claw game. It doesn't give you free money. It's your own money. And they're actually making money off of you because they're charging you surcharges for the ATM. And I want to play with the money machine. And she's never seen either one of us pull money from there, ever. So I don't even know. I don't know where the newfound love for it came from, but it's there. And, my husband found a receipt and he gave it to her and told her that was the money out of the machine and she was satisfied. So hopefully that works the next time, but we'll find out. And then we had, we went to Chili's for lunch. We usually go to lunch on Tuesdays after skating. We go out. She's done around, we get out of there about 10:45, and she's usually very hungry. So that is one of the few times we consistently go out to eat. It was nice. We had a good meal. People behind us were having very loud conversations. But we really like these. They're educational books that have dry erase markers. And she really likes them for learning how to write her letters. And most of the time she just scribbles in it. But we're getting to the point where she's actually utilizing it. But we did that. And then my light pad died. And it was a sad day. So I have upgraded to an A3, which is what I'm using right now. My other one was an A4. This one, so far, I'm really enjoying it. I think this one's brighter than my last one, which totally works for me because I've got terrible, terrible eyes. Terrible old eyes. Yeah. But this is from Crafty Mint. I put something up, excuse me, in my stories, and a few people had recommended this one for me. So if I remember, I'll link the exact one that I have down below in case you are interested yourself in getting a new light pad or a light pad in general. It does have to be plugged in, but it has, it's on a USB port. It's the connection that looks almost like an AV cable. I feel like I had this conversation not that long ago trying to describe what it was. And somebody said, oh, it looks like the pigtail connector. And most people know what that means. So if you know what that means, that's what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I mean, if I haven't already erased the photo off my phone, I'll put it up right here. So we played with Play-Doh after the nap. This is a newfound love of hers. And then we took a walk. It was this gorgeous, gorgeous day. We ordered from this local Italian restaurant. And I swear, when we order food from them, it's either wrong or takes forever. And like my husband even texted the guy and was like, "Hey man, hope you saw my delivery notes." And it took well over an hour, and it probably took like an hour and a half. It was unbelievable. Like the food wasn't even like room temperature at that point. It was no bueno. But it was good. But then I went to my knitting circle and I'm really enjoying it. And I was talking to the one woman at my table. I'm one of a few people that actually bring like crochet projects. I don't know if I explained this or not on here before, but one of my main reasons for searching for and seeking out a fiber arts group is because I realized if I'm not going to be able to make friends based off of like our kids go to school, you know, we don't socialize with any of the ice skating kids outside of ice skating because it's not really a social thing. Like they're on the ice and they hang out for a little bit, but then they're doing lessons. They're learning how to skate. So we've never really connected with any of the parents to be like, did you want to exchange information and have a play date? So I thought, well, I'd rather find people who are like-minded, who are really into crafts, things that I like to do, because that's something that you can do with someone else. Like you can bring a ball of yarn with you somewhere and work on a project. And I am by far the youngest person there, and that's totally fine. Like I don't mind that at all. And I've had some really interesting conversations, but one of the other problems I had when I was making mommy friends was when my daughter was younger. And my husband and I became parents later in life. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, not to knock anyone, if anyone is watching this and they're significantly younger than me, but in terms of parenting, I find girls who are 15 years younger than me parent very, very differently. I'm not saying better or worse, but I'm saying very differently. And while my idea of spending time with my child doesn't involve a lot of TV, and there's absolutely no shame if that's how you like to parent your child, or if that's the thing that saves you, for us it's more detrimental, and we never sought out to be those parents. But I've taken my daughter to play dates, and like they literally will just put her in front of a TV, and that way the parents don't have to watch the kids. And I'm like, well, I don't really like that. And you know, I've had some other mommy friends that I realized we didn't align in a lot of other aspects. Like we had major political differences or major differences, in like even basic things like feeding. And, you know, like I have a kid who has health things and feeding difficulties. And if it's too hard for you to make sure you don't leave your kid's water bottle just laying on the floor. And we're talking about when my kid was like 1, not a 4-year-old who's smart enough to know. It was very difficult. And so I'm sitting there at this knitting circle and I had made a comment about, you know, this is one of the reasons why I've sought out finding companionship through similar interests. And this one lady makes a comment to me, because I had said, like, my mother-in-law has never had my daughter. She wants my daughter. She really wants my daughter. But she physically can't handle it, and she won't slow down. She'll keep up with my kid, and she'll overdo it, and she'll burn herself out. And this woman, I guess she was kind of offended because I guess she's also in her 70s and was like, oh, us in our 70s, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, you should be putting your kid in front of a tablet every single day. And I was like, I just got done telling you that this is the way I parent my child. It's hands-on. I prefer to read paper books with my kid. I prefer to do things that are tactile with my kid instead of digital, because I think it works better for my kid and the way she learns and the way we interact. Again, this is no shame on how anybody does anything else. But I'm like, you basically sat there nodding and agreeing with me and then turned around and said a variant of the exact same thing that I said. I hate when the young moms make me like feel bad. Like I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I will never have a mommy friend that's much, much younger. But I am almost 40 years old. I don't need to be hanging out with somebody that I could potentially be their parent. And that's just my personal opinion on that and the way interactions have gone. And, it'd be different if I had more positive interactions with other parents, but that's just not really how it's been for me and our situation. And I'm going to move on from that because I don't want this to turn into like a womp womp. Take another sip. That's very good. And I know, by the way, that this is a total generalization. Like, I know there are plenty of young parents that are not very digital with their kid, or parents that are in the same boat as me that do just put their kid in front of the TV. Do we find positives out of using like certain things digitally? Sure, but for us, our kid is a really, really difficult time transitioning, and it's just kind of a nightmare. So Wednesday, it was like 10:10 in the morning, and my husband's like, don't we have kinder music in like 20 minutes? And I was like, oh my God. So I scrambled to get myself ready and my kid ready. Now, thankfully, we only live a couple minutes away from kinder music, but I'm so glad he said something, because this session, I've actually been paying for it month by month because we knew we were on the waiting list for the preschool program, and I didn't want to pay for the whole thing in full and then lose money. And I didn't want the teacher to lose money. Like, if we did it month by month, she was still getting paid, And I know, like, she lets people pay per session and things like that. But every time I would pay for the next 4 weeks worth of sessions, I would extend it in my calendar. Well, I totally forgot to do that. So thank goodness for Brian, because we would have been, it would have been like the next week and we would have been like, oh my God, we totally forgot about kinder music. But it was really, really a small group this time. And it was very weird. The week before, there were so many kids. And she said there were a lot of kids that week because a lot of kids were making up for missed sessions. But it's so good to see, her coming out of her shell and really participating and singing. And I credit a ton of that to her teacher. She does a fantastic job with these little kids. Fantastic job. And when you walk into the room, the way she has it set up is there's like a big carpet on the floor with like the alphabet and things like that. And then there's always books and small plushes. And the first activity, quote unquote, that they do is like put the toys away, put the books away. And my daughter will do that, but she'll hang on to one stuffed animal. I have to sneeze. Give me 1 second. And I'm back. Sorry. That was one of those sneezes I could feel it was happening. So I was like, let me not do that in your ear. So, she lets her hang on to like the one. It's usually Sky. She's got 2 Sky dogs in there. And all of the toys that are in that are used for other activities. Like, there's a song where we sing about the dogs and the cats. And so there's a ton of toy dogs and a ton of toy cats. And she'll put all of the other ones away. She'll just hang on to the one that and it's like her security blanket. And I'm really thankful that it works for her. And I'm really thankful that it works for her teacher, because it's made a huge difference, I've found. In, the way Briar engages with other kids, her tone, her attitude. We've tried bringing little fidgets in for her, but she's really a soft toy kind of kid. She really responds well to stuffed animals. And I think we don't let her bring in her own stuffed animal. And I think if we did and another kid tried to take it, it would be overwhelming to her. So I'm glad that there are little plush friends for her to play with. And, yeah. Of course, now I feel like my nose is running. I can't win, you guys. I wish that I wasn't allergic to pets. Not because I want one, but it would be nice to be able to not have to question when I go into somebody new's house if they have animals. Like, I'm always that kid when we had play dates being like, oh, do you guys have any pets? And, oh my god, you guys. Okay, I almost just dropped this whole container of drills. Let's take a deep breath together. Ready? That would have been not good. Not good at all. But I went to this one house and the girl's like, oh yeah, we have a couple dogs. And she had like 7 dogs. And I was like, this is more than a couple dogs. And I don't care how clean of a person you are or how clean of a house you think. When there are 7 dogs, there's dog hair everywhere. And when you have 7 dogs and someone walks in who's highly allergic, it's like instant. And that was very, very rough. But it was so great. We went to Giant to get groceries. Lunch for me is the most difficult meal. So, if you guys have recipe ideas or lunch ideas, please let me know. We will go and get like deli meat, but I am not the kind of person who likes to eat the same thing every single day. I might be the kind of person who likes to eat the same thing when we go to a restaurant, like each time we go. But I can't eat sandwiches every day or salads every day. Like, I need to mix things up, but I need them to be simple enough. And we had purchased a rotisserie chicken and made chicken salad. Like, we did a couple things, but I feel like, gosh, lunch is one of those really difficult meals for us. Maybe not us. It's more difficult for me. It's always been difficult for me. Like, when my daughter, when it was just her and I, like when my husband was still working outside of the house, I struggled with this as well. Because, you know, if she's hungry for lunch, it could be like 11 o'clock or it could be, 1 o'clock. There's no real rhyme or reason. So please, or if you guys have like websites that you love, like shoot me a DM or like my info is down below. Like send me an email. Let me know. I am all in. Just like dropping drills left and right. But it was funny. My husband got stuff to make flatbread pizzas, which we've done before. And that night, she's like, I want pizza. I want pizza. And my husband and I were like, we had already told her, we're not ordering in. We're not going out. We're just gonna make dinner. And so they actually ended up making the flatbreads that we were going to do for lunch for dinner. And it worked out really well. The cup pepperonis, you guys, the ones that like curl up and like look like a C shape or a U shape. Oh my God, they're the best. When they're crispy. Oh my goodness. I'm like making my own mouth water over here.
I didn't even know they made those.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, obviously we knew they existed because we've gotten them on pizzas, but right. Like Hormel or whoever made them and we got some. So good. So good. But it was really cute. He's over there. Okay, we're going to spoon it on. No, you don't need any more, Briar. Just use the back of your spoon. No, you don't need to scoop it. Just use the back of your spoon to spread it out. And she's over there trying to, like, scoop more out. And he's like, nope, you don't need to do It was quite comical. And they really enjoyed themselves. And then we ate the pizzas. They were really good. It was just plain cheese and pepperoni. Nothing special on them. We have done them. That's one thing. Like, if you have kids or you're watching, like, your kid, your grandkid, your neighbor doing pizzas together, unless you have one of those kids that, like, doesn't like pizza, it's so much fun. They get to pick their toppings. They can, like, almost, it's like decorating, almost. It's a lot of fun. We've done them a few times with her. And she takes so much pride in, well, this is what I made. Mommy and Daddy are eating what I made. You know, she loves that. I think a lot of kids really like. It's that responsibility. Giving them a task and then giving them something to be proud of. Because you can't really screw it up. You know what I mean? You can decorate it however you want. And then it's the responsibility of the adult to cook it. And I loved listening to the two of them have their conversations about the pizza and the sauce and what to do and put this here. And it was really, really sweet. And it made me so proud of her. And she was so proud of herself. And my husband was proud of her. And like, obviously it should go without saying I'm proud of my husband, but he cooks like every day. So, he already knows how to keep us alive. But it was really fun. And then the next day, where are we at? We're on Thursday? Yeah. Thursday was a super chill day. Briar's like biggest thing in life is, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do after breakfast? What are we going to do after a nap? What are we going to do after lunch? What are we going to do? And sometimes when you tell her we're not going to do anything, it's like a bull in a china shop, and she just, it's like, kid, sometimes mommies and daddies need to recharge. Like, damn, how do people, I just saw this as a meme today. It was like, how did we go to school and like have a whole school day when like as an adult, I feel like I run 2 errands and I'm exhausted for the rest of the day. I mean, of course, we run 2 errands and we keep people alive and we have to be responsible for making meals and upkeeping the house and, you know, all these things that are like really boring adult tasks that you don't have to do when you're like in 2nd grade or whatever. But we just had a super chill day. Like I said, she just recently discovered Play-Doh. She doesn't know it yet, but she has more Play-Doh and one of those, like, I guess, Fun Factory? Is that what they...
Yeah, it's like a baking one.
Okay. Oh, I saw that one online. And so she doesn't know it yet, but for her birthday, she's going to have one of the ones where you can, like, make the different shapes and all the stuff. Like, right now, it's literally her, 2 cookie cutters, a plastic knife, and a plastic fork. And this kid sat in her high chair, like, I'm not even exaggerating, for like 2 hours. Just playing with Play-Doh. Nothing else. There was nothing else except for the Play-Doh and those few tools. And I had to teach her a life lesson of you cannot fling a knife around. That was a fun conversation. And she just looked at me like I was crazy as she's like waving this plastic knife in the air. I also had to explain to her, you know, you also can't run with scissors. And she's like, you run with scissors? And I'm like, you've literally never seen mommy run with scissors ever. Ever. And I'm also very conscious of the fact, like, if I'm holding, like, if my husband says, can you grab me a knife? I never handed him, like, blade first. I always turn around, let him have the handle. Or, like, if it's a certain kind of knife, like, he'll grab it from the top instead. I've always been like that as... I don't want to say as an adult, but like since I've been old enough to understand like knife safety, I've always been like that. So, oh, my arm's switching. But where am I? We did Play-Doh. I mean, this kid, her mind is gonna be blown for her birthday when she gets that. What else do we do? We went to, Briar keeps calling it the doctor practor instead of the chiropractor, which I think is super cute. And I went, and the girl who does like the stretches and the exercises, she's like, I can really see a difference. You're definitely not struggling as much as you used to. And I was like, thanks. Like, I'm still struggling, but not as much. So, but I also learned I use the lightest resistance bands when we do the resistance exercises. And my daughter, when she was in there the one day with us, like playing around, she took a 30-pound resistance band all the way from the wall, like probably like her shoulder height, all the way to the floor. And I'm over here like doing a 10-pound one, trying to like cross my chest and just be like, this kid is an ant, like an A-N-T, not an aunt. She's just like stupid strong. It's crazy. It's crazy how strong this kid is. But we did that, and then we needed to pick up her prescription, and she has a compound, and they don't mix it until we're there. If you guys don't know what that is, it is powder medication that gets mixed into a liquid suspension. I'm sure Steph is hearing me describe this and being like, oh, you just butchered that, but I'm doing the best I can, guys. Our old pharmacy, like, it would already be mixed and ready. So if you couldn't come get it for like a day, it was sitting there. And they have a shorter lifespan. Like, a pill can sit there for much, much longer. the mixed stuff because it'll separate, it'll ruin the strength of the prescription. So no matter what, even if you call it in and they call you and tell you it's ready, it's never a quick thing because they still have to mix it. It doesn't take very long to do, but it's a lot slower of a process than, say, I'm coming in to pick up my pills. Oh, what's your name? What's your birthday? Here you go. Bye. So we got that, and it's a little bit... I talked about this. If anybody was in my live on Instagram, you heard me talking about this a little bit. It's not so much that I have a war on Christmas or that I'm a Grinch. I just want inclusivity. And when I'm talking about it, like I'm talking about my daughter and I were in the pharmacy section of a supermarket, and all of the shelves that were in the area that didn't have like medicine and like your pharmacy type stuff were just covered top to bottom in Christmas stuff. Not a single thing relating to Hanukkah. I am lucky where I live if I get an end cap at, Target. And it's frustrating because then my kid starts asking questions about Christmas, and I have never said to her, like, you can't like lights. Those are only for Christmas. Like, I know my kid really likes lights. She loves Halloween decorations. Why wouldn't she like Christmas lights? Which, let me tell you, I saw today, somebody had posted, Hershey Park does, it's called Sweet Lights. It's a drive-through light display, which, by the way, last year or the year before, whenever we went, they did have one single Hanukkah light, but it was there. It now costs $40 to get in. $40 to drive through. It's crazy. That's crazy expensive to me. And it's per car. It's not like per person, but if you have like a bigger car, they'll charge you more. So, anyway, side note. So we got the prescription, and she was carrying around the little shopping baskets because I didn't want to get a cart for literally, we needed bread for our dinner and our prescription. And this kid, like, when she's holding the basket, it's like hitting her in the feet. She's wielding it around. It's like a damn weapon. I'm like, kid, just put the thing down. And everybody was giggling because they were seeing her, struggling to carry this basket. But little Miss Independent over here, can mommy hold the basket? No. Can mommy help you? No. Can mommy grab that for you? No. Like, okay, kid. Okay. If you say so. How are we on time? We're good. So, it was funny. And then she goes, can we do something after dinner? Can we do something fun? And I said, like what, Briar? Like, mind you, this was like, we were just grabbing this, and dinner was going to be shortly after we got home. Which we ended up having chicken salad sandwiches for dinner. Hence needing the bread. And I felt so bad. I got these really, really good, like, mini baguettes. And it was just too much chewing, and I felt so bad because, like, she really struggled, and I'm over here, like, proud mom moment, like, I picked the best bread for these sandwiches. They're going to be bomb.com. And then my kid's over there, like, growling and grunting because she can't take a bite. Like, she just can't pull it apart with the strength of her jaw yet, and I felt terrible. Thankfully, my husband had some wraps, and that's what he was eating them on, and it worked for her. It was fine. I felt bad in the moment. Let's stuck together. But the something cool, something fun that she wanted was dessert. So I let her go over. Where was that? I don't even know where it went. Looking for the one I was just working on. Anyway, we went over and I let her pick a dessert, and she picked like chocolate cake. It was a chocolate pound cake. Already sliced. It was great. It was delicious. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I'm fat and I like chocolate, so I'm not surprised. And then, even my husband, who's not really a chocolate person, enjoyed it. He thought it was quite delicious. It wasn't like too chocolatey. I think and it was very pound cakey. So if you like pound cake, that's probably a good thing for you to snack on. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. Isn't that what a WIP Chat is? Just me multitasking while you guys listen to me struggle. That should be my catchline. Watch my WIP Chat where I work on stuff and you listen to me struggle. Put that on a t-shirt. Speaking of t-shirts, if you guys did not know, my husband, who is the DaddaMonster, has recently launched his Teespring shop. I will make sure to leave that down below. If you don't know what Teespring is, it is a company my husband designs, and he submits all the designs, and they do printing. They print each order as they come in. So there's no, he's not holding on to any stock. We're not in charge of it from our house. They just print it with their equipment, and it gets sent directly to you. So he's got t-shirts, he's got neck gaiters, phone cases, a few other things. But if you were ever wondering how to support my husband's business or our family, but you aren't into pops, or it's out of your price range, or whatever it may be, you can still help support by grabbing yourself a really cute t-shirt. There are kids and adult sizes, there are plus sizes, there are straight sizes, but he also has a shop small t-shirt, so it's not even like brand specific. So if you just want to show how much you support small businesses, whether it's his business or otherwise, you can check that out. So I will make sure to link that down below. Please give it a look. Share as always. Sharing is the best way for people to learn about these things. So even if you don't plan on making a purchase, you never know if that will be sparked by somebody else, and they'll see that you shared the post or the link or whatever it may be, and then make that purchase for themselves. So thank you guys so much for always supporting our family and wanting to help. And I think this is a really cool way to continue to show your support. And if you guys have ever seen, there's posts about it, it's all over the place, but it costs literally $0 to support a friend's business. You don't necessarily need to purchase anything from someone to support it, but sharing, word of mouth, things like that, they make a huge difference, especially in handmade and handcrafted goods. Not just like what my husband does, but it's just a really easy way to help support. And that goes for, like, in the diamond painting community too. You have crafters who make their own waxes, or who make minders or pens. You know, sometimes you can't afford to purchase that item, or you can't get your hands on that item. But sharing that so-and-so has great products, or is having a great sale, or whatever it may be, or just, hey, go check out my friend's shop. That can be a make or break for a lot of small businesses. And I truly, truly do mean that. So Friday, which was the next day, we went to go visit my father-in-law. My mom and my daughter had a conversation on the phone the night before while my husband and I were getting stuff together in the kitchen. And it's the first time my daughter's ever had, like, the phone by herself to have a conversation. And my mom, for the life of her, could not understand that we were saying we were going to go see the cows. She's like, cowl? I'm like, no, Mom, the cow. She's like, what? I'm like, on Grandpa's farm? She's like, what are you saying? It was like whisper down the lane. She could not comprehend. And I was like, cow? Like moo? And she's like, who? You guys, the whole time this is happening, my husband and I are like, how is she not understanding what we're saying? You have 3 people shouting, cow, Mom, cow, C-O-W, ow? What? It was hilarious. But anyway, so we went and saw Grandpa and his cows. Somehow my husband, or my father-in-law, had turned the sound off on his phone. And he's a very simple man. He's got a flip phone. He doesn't really use it for anything. And, but his grown children were both getting concerned because they kept calling him over and over and over again and getting no answer, and he wasn't calling them back. Well, it turns out he didn't realize he had all these missed calls because his ringer was off and he didn't know how to turn it back on. But he's not like people who utilize their phone on a regular basis. So he wasn't checking his phone at the end of the day and seeing that he had like 15 missed calls from his boys. And so we went over, we showed him how to fix it. And my daughter was there, and she, first of all, this kid, I don't know where she's putting all the food that she was eating that day, but she ate an entire, it was like a fruit and cheese platter, and then went out to have lunch. And I was like, good God, kid, where are you putting it all? Which sometimes she's like that. I'm guessing we're going through a growth spurt. But she was at Grandpa's house, and she comes like running down the hallway, and there's like blood all over her palm. And I'm like, what is happening? What did you do? Like, I literally turned around, and she's coming at me with blood. And so she just scraped like right here on her palm, but it was enough to take like probably like a dime size or maybe even a nickel size worth of skin off the top. We still have no idea how she did it or what she did it on, because like she wasn't unattended. She, like, I literally was in the kitchen grabbing her drink, and then I turn around and I was like, Briar, where'd you go? And also, like, his house is not like a big house for her to go get lost in.
Yeah, his house isn't cluttered.
Right, at all. Like, there's like almost nothing there. And so we still don't know. But this kid, we got her a Band-Aid, and the day before, she had actually given herself a paper cut to the point that she needed a Band-Aid, and fell on top of a hard plastic dreidel, and it like punctured the skin, left her a bruise, also needed a Band-Aid. I was like, oh my God, this kid, like, she needs a bubble. She's just, I don't know what is going on with her. And then, of course, the next day she fell again, and I was like, kid, I don't have enough Band-Aids in the world. But we had to go and buy like a new pack of Band-Aids because we needed the big square ones, or even like the H-shaped ones would have worked. But we just had regular Band-Aids, and they would just hang off the side of her hand. And she would walk around with her hand like this, like cupped, like it was broken. Of course, when she was playing with her toys, her hand was totally fine. Today, actually, I needed her to hold my hand because we were in a parking lot. And she refused to like hold my hand completely because of her Band-Aid. And I was like, Briar, you're fine. Just give mommy your hand. She only wanted to hold like one of my fingers. And I was like, kid. But anyway, she was just a mess that day. I don't know. We still don't know how it happened. But it would be really nice if like she didn't fall and hurt herself again. Like, it's days in a row. It's like, damn, kid. And I know that's totally normal of small kids, but I think she's ever had like a Band-Aid on like twice in her life. She's gone through like 3 or 4 Band-Aids, like different spots of needing Band-Aids in the last couple days. But we did that, and we ended up getting Chinese food for dinner. My husband was craving it, so we picked some up. There's a Chinese place near us. It's pretty good. They don't deliver, and they're pretty cheap. And there was a dude like outside ranting and raving, like screaming at the top of his lungs. I don't know if he was expecting somebody from the Chinese restaurant to be like, oh, here you go, sir. But he was like, this is bullshit. What kind of Chinese restaurant doesn't serve rice with their dish? Now, we don't know what he got. Maybe it didn't come up on the receipt as, you know, like whatever with rice. And it probably was in his package. But my husband was inside picking up his stuff, and he's like, that dude's an idiot. Like, the woman who rang him out didn't even bat an eye when he was like freaking out about it. Which, good for her, because he was ranting and raving. And then he started screaming in his car, and he just wanted attention. And I was like, who do you want to come to your rescue? And my husband's like, he didn't even pay for his food. Like, his friend bought him dinner. I'm like, well, that's pretty rude. Go spend the 99 cents and get a small container of rice if it bothers you that much. Anyway, we did that. And then my mom, I talked to my parents and my husband's mom almost every day. Sometimes it's every day. Sometimes life gets in the way. But I'll leave you guys with this one little story, and then I will skedaddle. So we're sitting there, and my mom's like, you know, when I was talking to Briar, I was really impressed. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, she talks really good, and she's really funny. And I'm like, yeah, she is funny. And she just kind of like awkward pause. And I was like, well, she does have funny parents. And she goes, well, when you were that age, you weren't even funny at all. And I was like, thanks, Mom. And then I'm thinking, well, my mom's not funny. My mom has never been intentionally funny in her life. Like, the only times that she says something that people, like, laugh at because it's funny is things that were unintentional. Like, one day my mom, like, totally dead serious, just looked at me and she goes, you know, twins are like strangers that just met in the same womb. And I was like, what? Like, she's not wrong, but that's what your mind was just randomly thinking of one day. And so apparently I have a very funny 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old. I mean, I'm so like weirded out by the fact that I'm gonna have to call her a 4-year-old soon. But I was just like, thanks, Mom. My mom is also the queen of backhanded compliments, and I don't think she realizes that she does it like all the time. But it was just funny because she's like, "Hey, you weren't funny at all," and I was like, "Thanks. Just keep repeating it, Mom. Let me know how I wasn't funny." I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if my mom thinks I'm funny now. I think I'm funny now, but I am and always have been my best audience, because if I can't laugh at me, who's going to be able to laugh with me, not at me? Because I know my husband's going to make a snarky comment. But this is where I think I will leave you guys. We are at the 1 hour mark now. If you guys enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content like this, or, you know, nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. One real life, one virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell.
Dang.
I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping or sleeping, just like today. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!